Today's episode, the NBA season is here, so we discussed most valuable player and why I think most likely your favorite player isn't going to win it. The answers I have might surprise you. WNBA, I tried to be careful, and I'm still trying to be careful, but you have an image issue. Your bigger problem is that no one really likes you. Also, videos, I got some fun ones, including an optical illusion at the end that might make you go so crazy you might choke. Check it out. What's up, everyone? Another edition of Tricky Guy Sports. It's your host, Brent Bilski, a.k.a. Double B. Can you believe it? The NBA season is here.
Gosh, I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
Pretty damn cool, man. I mean, time flies when your whole life is passing you by like mine is, but still, I mean, we're already here. The NBA season is upon us. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited about it. Lots of things we could discuss as the season rolls along. As far as like even predictions, I kind of want to chill on that. I want to see, you know, what all these new teams and these new rosters can do. Give me a couple weeks of kind of looking at them before we really get into that. But something I know that we can talk about today, and I think is a very interesting discussion, something that is very up for grabs, is most valuable player. Who's going to be the MVP in 2023?
You the real MVP.
So there's a lot of things, just so you know, when it comes down to the most valuable player, and I think it's one of the most kind of discussed awards in all of professional sports. Something that is really, debated heavily and has been changed a lot and has been, you know, this, that, the other thing. So just so you know, the criterion that goes into actually being the MVP nowadays.
You the real MVP.
Thank you, Kevin Durant, who, by the way, hates when people troll that, but I don't know him and he doesn't listen to the show, so yeah. But the most valuable player in the NBA comes down now to it's 100 media members and then a fan vote. So they get 100 media members and a fan vote, and they do a numerical system where they'll give them like the top 5 candidates, and they'll do like a point system, and whoever ends up at the top of that vote after everything is said and done is the actual MVP. The new caveat this year, though, and I do think is interesting, is that you have to play 65 games. And I think this has always been kind of at least a discussed metric, but now it's for sure. You have to play at least 65 games in order to be eligible for the MVP award, all NBA, bunch of stuff. But for today's thing, to be an MVP, you must play 65.
You the real MVP.
Got it? Good. Also, you know, undiscussed rules are things like it should be, you know, you should have at least one of the best records in the entire league. You should definitely be winning your conference or at least your division. 50, 60 wins seems to be kind of the metric there. Stats, obviously, if you have insane, like Russell Westbrook, triple-double stats, things like that we haven't seen since Oscar Robertson. What do you do versus the other MVP candidates head-to-head? And also, one of the big ones I've noticed in NBA, a lot of times they'll do based on value as far as when you're on and off the court. So some of the teams that have multiple good players, it's harder to win MVP than it is in maybe other sports, because a lot of times, yes, they do best record, you know, best team, best player, but there has been issues before in the past where, like, if there's two guys that are close to the top, a la Kobe Shaq is a perfect example, where if they eat into each other too much and then other teams are also up at the top and it's more just significant that they are the one main reason, you can tell when they're on or off the court that is what's causing most of the quote-unquote value to happen there. They will end up winning awards, much like Steve Nash. So that's a perfect example of that time period, Kobe Shaq Nash. Nash was so clearly valuable to the Phoenix Suns, and Kobe Shaq were both obviously just as good, better, and probably more valuable, but it was harder to define that metric because one could win without the other, all that other stuff. So that all being said, now you know the rules. 65 games at least. You have to probably be clearly the most valuable player on your team. Can't have another guy eat into your window there. You have to probably win at least your division, most likely be top of the conference, and all that put together. Stats are obviously going to be there too, head-to-head matchups, all that together. That all decides who will be the MVP. So with that being said, who do I think is going to be the MVP in 2023? I'm glad you asked.
You the real MVP.
Let me knock out some ones real quick that have been, I've looked at the list and what they've discussed. So some of the first ones I'm going to go ahead and knock out of the box are going to be John Morant, Zion Williamson, SGA, anyone from the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. They're all gone. So Ja's gone. Zion's gone, SGA's gone, Kawhi is gone because for a multitude of reasons. One, Ja is not going to be able to make the 65 games. Do not think the NBA did not do that 25-game suspension on purpose. 25 games was enough to make sure that Ja, even if he plays every game that he can, will only play 57 total. That is way below the 65 necessary to get certain bonuses, MVP awards, and other things. So he's gone.
And it's gone.
Zion, I don't think, can play 65 games. He might be valuable enough, and the Pelicans could be a sleeper team that makes a run, but he's too fat and he has too much injury history for me to think that he'll be able to play the 65 games. SGA, I do think, can play the 65s. I will think will put up numbers, but I don't think the Thunder in a very tough Western Conference now is going to be able to at least get 50 wins and be considered one of the top contenders enough to where he will be in the MVP. So even though as good as SGA is and not discussed enough, I don't think he has a shot.
And it's gone.
And again, the Clippers, for all the reasons I've listed, I don't think any of them are going to play 65 games. I don't think they'll be nearly good enough to be considered in the MVP race. So all of them are just out of the picture completely. So let's get into the ones, at least the sleepers so far. And according not just to me, to Vegas, to everyone's odds. And let me get to a big one here and just let's go ahead and knock this out the box and just go ahead and let this one just go. LeBron James, ESPN, as I was looking at the MVP candidates, they had LeBron James up there as one of the possible MVP award winners this year as a sleeper. ESPN, you got to let this go. Let it go. Stop it. I know y'all love LeBron. I get it. I think going all the way back to like when he made the announcement that he was going to take his talents to South Beach, I've always said, and I do still think this, I'll put my tinfoil hat on, that I do think ESPN and him have some sort of collusion to where, hey, you gave us that, we're always going to show you love, because it seems like ESPN is constantly trying, and it might be too because of ratings and everything else, but the idea that LeBron James is going to be able to win an MVP award this year at 38 years old when he's only played 55, 56, and 45 games the last 3 seasons. It's not, come on, let's stop it. Let's be realistic and let's talk about the Lakers and let's talk about this fantasy that LeBron is even there, because really the only one you can bring up is Anthony Davis. You want to create a fantasy world where a Laker can win an MVP this year, go with AD. But LeBron, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone that's a fan of him. And it's not even a diss. He's just not a top 5 guy anymore. The guy is 38 years old in his 21st season. LeBron has been phenomenal and maybe should have had some MVPs that he didn't get and that were well-deserved. But that's a whole nother discussion for another day. We're talking most valuable player in 2023. It's just a fantasy. When I see ESPN and others go, oh, LeBron could still put it all together. And don't get me wrong, the dude puts up decent numbers. 28.9 points per game last year was one of his best in a very long time. 8 rebounds, 6.8 assists. He's good. He's great. He's still LeBron. But he's not reaching the 65-game metric. Now that the 65-game metric is there, he's not touching 65 games. And it's not even his team. As you can see, and even preseason as we've been rolling along, this is Anthony Davis's team. This team will go as far as AD takes him, much like he kind of did in the bubble. Whether you guys want to admit that or not, you know it's true. You don't want to say it, I'll say it. Without Anthony Davis, you did not win that championship clearly the last time you won the bubble title, which is only a half title in my opinion. Sorry, Lakers fans, I'm a little bothered by that one. But AD even himself, I don't think can be a most valuable player because I don't see him touching the 65 games necessary, even though he might have closer to at least age and stats that could get it done. His 25.7 last year were a career high. Still averages 12.5 rebounds and over 2 blocks. He's one of 3 centers to average at least 25 points a game and 2 blocks over 5 seasons total. It is Anthony Davis, it is Shaquille O'Neal, and it is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Those are the 3 centers, all former Lakers, that have now been able to put up 25 points and 2 blocks for 5 seasons. He can be very dominant. He can put up numbers. He can do it to where maybe he's a sleeper, but he won't put up the amount of games necessary in order to get there at 65. I don't think LeBron will either, even with all the new rules that they've instituted to try to stop back-to-backs and other things. LeBron is actually grandfathered out of that, by the way, if you look at the way the rules were explained to us. LeBron isn't even really mentioned, but even then, it's not his year. LeBron is 38. LeBron might win a title, which I think in the end of the GOAT argument is more important right now than whether or not he's going to win most valuable player. But I find it just that ESPN even put it up as a possibility was so eye-roll inducing. It's just like, come on, man. He's not even if he was able to stay healthy and do everything he's supposed to do at 38 in his 21st season, he's not a top 5 player in this league. He is not one of the top 5 anymore. He's just not. Anthony Davis could creep up to that, but even he is getting close to the bottom. So Lakers fans, you might win a title this year. Congratulations. There's a very good shot with your whole roster. Pelinka did such an amazing job that you could actually win an NBA title. Anyone on your team winning the most valuable player award, though, which is what we're discussing today, is nonsense. I'm sorry. It's fantasy. That's why I'm playing fantasy music. It's silly. It's a dumb thought. I don't think there's any real possibility that that's going to happen. But the good news is you could win an NBA title, which is more important. All right, good. Moving on then to the next group of people that I don't think will win the most valuable player awards. I'm going to throw in a quick mention to Jason Tatum. I'm going to leave this right now as what do you call, like, unchecked. I'm not sure yet. I don't think it's actually going to happen because, again, I think Tatum is one of the top 10 players in this league. But besides adding Drew and Kristaps and others that are going to maybe eat into his offensive numbers a little bit, I just don't still think that Tatum commands or demands the attention, respect, or numbers while he is maybe a, most valuable player on his team. And this is the only way that I think Tatum could win the MVP award is the argument that the Boston Celtics could and should possibly have the best record in the entire NBA. And if Tatum then is the best player on the best team, ergo, that should be enough to maybe at least give him opportunity. So that's why I'll leave it as a possibility. I don't think it's a huge one, but it's at least a 5% possibility, maybe 10% that Tatum could get the award this year. The dude does put up numbers. I mean, Tatum just last year averaged 30, 8.8, and 4.6, and he could be the best player on the best team with the best record in the NBA. It's a possibility, but I still don't give it a huge, huge shot that he will win the MVP. But I did want to shout out Jason Tatum. I think sometimes he doesn't get enough love, therefore I threw him in there. Another ones I want to discuss in the MVP possibility, and this one goes more into, I think, unfortunately, they're going to eat each other a little bit because they're on the same team, which is, like I said, the Kobe, Shaq versus Nash. Kobe and Shaq being on the same team kind of ate into their ability to show themselves individually versus Nash, who clearly shined outside of Stoudemire, but even with Stoudemire, was clearly the most valuable player on an also very good team. So this is going to fall more into they might possibly eat each other up category, a la little fat bastard.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back ribs.
I want my baby back, baby back. You may not get your MVP back in the way things are going because you're just going to be interrupting each other too much here. The first ones I want to put in that category are Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. I just don't see either one of them being able to separate enough. Now, Phoenix is maybe the biggest outlier of a we'll see as far as they have a lot of things they still need to put together. But if anyone has a possibility to kind of maybe still not get the respect they're getting, because Milwaukee's definitely get the respect they're getting now they got Dame and Giannis. The Boston Celtics, because of their last few years' success, are clearly getting their respect. The Phoenix Suns are just being freshly still put together with the addition of Bradley Beal, and then the letting go of DeAndre Ayton for Nurkic and then bringing him in that trade there. But I still think that the Phoenix Suns on paper, not just the big moves they made, it was the small moves they made. The Eric Gordons, the Grayson Allens, the Yuta Watanabes, who I still think you guys don't understand just quite how much of a big pickup that's going to be for them off the bench. Yuta is a shooter. Yuta's a bad boy. I think Phoenix could possibly be the best team in the West record-wise, most likely when you consider the other teams I think might be due for a little bit of a fall. But as far as MVP, which is what we're discussing right there, we're not discussing anything else but most valuable player.
You the real MVP.
As good as Devin is and good as Durant is, I think the addition of Beal is going to eat into both their numbers for one. And a big thing that we're not talking about enough with them is that they really don't have a true point guard anymore, and Chris Paul is gone. Say what you want about Chris Paul. Say he's injury prone. Say he's old. Say Golden State maybe shouldn't have given up Jordan Poole for him. You can say a lot of things about Chris Paul. What you can't say is that this guy didn't clearly do everything that was possibly in the human history of anything that could be done as a point guard, do everything necessary to make sure his scorers get the shots exactly where they want to get them. When it comes to the true definition of point guard, I don't think there's very few people on earth. John Stockton, I mean, even Magic with Showtime and stuff. When someone who just thinks out the game as a point guard and is truly doing the definition of, I'm going to think out the offense, I'm going to execute it perfectly, I'm going to know what everyone wants, everyone should be, and I'm going to run it like a quarterback. Really, maybe no one in history ran it better than Chris Paul. So not only does Kevin Durant and Devin Booker's MVP chances, in my opinion, now dwindle because of the addition of Bradley Beal, they are going to all be eating into each other's numbers, and even then throwing in too, I don't know. We'll see if they could be one of the top 3 teams in a very difficult Western Conference. But without Chris Paul, without their quarterback, at least their offensive coordinator. You have to at least call Chris Paul the offensive coordinator, being now taken out of that equation, and really no one like him being in the middle of that to replace it. What are they going to be able to do offensively? It's not like they're not going to put up numbers. It's not like the Suns aren't going to be good. I mean, don't get it twisted. I'm not being dumb here. I'm just saying that when it comes to as far as sleepers or candidates for the MVP, I can't put either one of them there, even though I both think individually they might be top 5 players in the league. Kevin Durant has proven it, and Booker is coming up, but I just don't think they can run away in the West without seeing more with them, and I don't think they'll get the numbers, and I don't think they have the point guard. So for me, they're out. The next ones that I think are important to discuss, that I'm going to take both of them for the same argument of, I think they're both going to now eat into each other's stats, and as great as they are, and both of them could possibly by themselves be argued as most valuable player in NBA, I don't think they'll win it in 2023 because I just don't think they're going to be able to separate from each other and prove their value without each other. The better news is I think it makes you the best team in basketball. Without further ado, I'm talking about Giannis and Damian Lillard. I don't think that they are going to win the MVP, but together they are going to be something we haven't seen very, very often. I mean, look, this is a team that is probably going to compete for the best record because they've already competed for the best record before Damian Lillard and kept most of their roster. The other thing that you need to know is that they are, again, they were number 3 or number 4 and 1 in scoring. I mean, are number 2 and 4 in scoring, both 30 points a game. Both can put up numbers that are just redonkulous. Damian Lillard last year, 32.2, 4.8 rebounds, 7.8 assists. The Freak is the Freak, 32 points, 11.8 rebounds, 5.7 assists. I think because of the combination of everything going on, they are going to struggle a little bit to maybe put up the numbers they did last year, and other teams and other players are going to elevate, and the ones I have above them as MVP candidates are going to be able to do more because they aren't going to have such a hard time working as far as to get their own individual stats. The better news is I think they both have a sincerely, unbelievably good shot at winning the NBA title this year. I think once playoff comes around, if they're healthy, if you don't fear the deer, you're not paying attention. The other reason, and this is an important stat here, I want to discuss to you guys a thing called usage rate. And this is probably the main reason I will say I don't think it's going to happen for Damian or Giannis this year. I won't even put them in the category, including Giannis at MVP. They both have an insane usage rate. What's a usage rate? I'm glad you asked. Usage rate is the percentage of a team's possessions used while on the floor. The percentage of a team's possessions used while on the floor is known as usage rate. There you go. Take that home for your friends. And so basically it means, are you the one that caused the possession, as far as are you the one who caused the assist, the shot, or the turnover? And those two combined are number 1 and number 4 individually last year in usage rate in the entire National Basketball Association. They are 1 and they are 4. Giannis is 1, Damian is 4 at 38.4% usage rate and 33.7% usage rate. Basically 38 and 34%. Those two combined right now, as of the way they played last season, equals 72% of the total amount of shots, turnovers, or assists. Individually, by themselves, those two people were now 72% of the offense if you combine them together. How is the other 28% going to fit in and be happy in a world where that exists? There's no way their usage rate can be what it was like it was last year. So they're both going to have to kind of, give up a little. They're both going to have to sacrifice. And it's going to be for the greater good. It's going to be for the better because they're going to be a much better team, even though they were already very good. I think they're going to hit a whole nother gear and a whole nother level with the addition of Dame time. But I don't think individually they're going to be able to do enough to where you're going to see other people that have a better situation put up better numbers. I think they end up not being MVP available this year because, again, of usage rate. So there you go. Now I want to get into the ones that actually I do think have shot. Let's break down now the ones I do think officially have a shot at most valuable player this year. Again, so to go down the list, I knocked out Ja, I knocked out Zion, I knocked out SGA, I knocked out Kawhi. I don't think LeBron has a shot. AD really is kind of not much in the picture to me. Jason Tatum maybe is a possible still, but I don't really think it's going to happen. And in the gonna eat each other's stats too much categories, I have Booker, Durant, and Giannis and Dame. So who does that leave now for the top 4 I have for possible most valuable players this year? I'm glad you asked.
You the real MVP.
Let's start off with my first one here, a guy who a lot of you are not really paying enough attention to, and it's still kind of fascinating to me because of who he is, what he's done, and the legacy he's going to leave. The forever changing of the game has gone down to this guy, and I think is actually, in my opinion, not even as a fan, I'm being legit serious because of the way that he stands out as far as it's clearly his team, and I think the numbers and the record that they have will all be enough. Plus, I do think he gets to 65 games. He seems very healthy and in great shape this year. I'm going to go with my man, Steph Curry. I am going to go with my man, Steph Curry. I've been watching Steph Curry in preseason, and it has been awe-inspiring to say the least. This dude is something else, man. This guy here is like watching fantasy rookie or video game, whatever you want to call it. This dude is something out of a dream sometimes when he gets his shot going. As somebody who used to be a shooter, and yes, I did play college, and yes, I can shoot, and yes, I can beat you, relax. But when it comes to watching a true just stud, I don't think people understand enough with Steph Curry, and I've tried to explain this before. Let's say 7 billion people live on the earth currently, right? Give or take. Let's say 1 out of 7 of those people have eventually picked up a basketball and attempted to shoot it into a basket, all right? Let's just be, 1 out of 7. Let's say 1 billion people currently have at least attempted to pick up and shoot a basketball, an orange basketball, through an orange rim 10 feet high. 1 billion people have tried it. Some have tried it and some have practiced to get a little bit better at it than others. Steph Curry is, with all unanswered questions, with all questions answered, the best at that. Ever in the history of ever. And I don't think sometimes that really is given enough of a metric. So let's repeat that. Out of 7 billion people, let's say 1 out of 7 people have attempted to shoot a basketball at some point in their life. Steph Curry, out of 1 billion people trying to do something, is the best out of 1 billion. It's hard to just really appreciate just how rare and great that is. That's like watching Mozart play piano. That's like watching Beethoven. That's like watching Shakespeare write a sonnet. Like, we don't see it every day. He is without question the undisputed best shooter the world has ever seen. It is like watching Mozart live. That is the equivalent of what you see when you watch this guy shoot a basketball. And the crazy thing is, this year he's gotten better. His shot looks smoother. He looks more confident. He looks even in better shape than he's been. Y'all have never given him his credit, as far as people that don't watch Golden State who aren't a fan of Steph Curry, as far as his ability to just control the game. And that's another reason I put him as number 4 in my MVP category, because look at the numbers of with Steph on the floor and without Steph on the floor. If you just want to argue value by value, there is nobody, and I mean nobody, very rarely we've seen in the last 20 years that you can put metrics up to show more value than when that guy is on the floor, with his ability to create, with definitely his ability to shoot, his ability to lead, do all the things that he does to make people pay attention more defensively to him and leave other people open. I mean, the numbers have always been, and there's 1,000 of them. You can Google a bunch of them. But like just last year in November, they were doing with Steph on or off the court. Just so you know, his plus was 103 and it was negative 99, meaning that up to that point in November, the Warriors had won by a combined 100 points when he was on the floor and lost by 99 when he was off. It is hard to find people that have had such a level of, man, they are great when he's on the court, and then they just suddenly are mediocre or sucky when he is off, and just by himself, just individually him falling off. And so if you want to argue value, If you want to argue value, it is hard to argue more value than Steph Curry. And I do think his number is going to be there. And I think also, more importantly, I think the Warriors are going to be there. I think they got enough height to where they won't at least be completely detrimental in that situation. I think Chris Paul is going to really help out Moody and Kuminga. And so all that being put together, I do think the Warriors are going to creep up and be a top 3 team in the Western Conference. And because of where he is at the level he is at, I do think Steph Curry is going to be close to what he's been putting up lately, which have been always insane numbers: 29 points, 6-7 rebounds, 6-7 assists, and field goal and three-point percentages as far as metrics that are very hard to repeat or even see. So I think Steph actually has a real shot at this. I do think Steph Curry could be the MVP this year, but I do have him at number 4. All right, at number 3, and this one is interesting because there's going to be certain metrics he'll hit. I think as far as MVP goes, I think he'll hit the 65 games. I think he's definitely going to put up the numbers, and he might be due, and it might be his time. And I don't think the only thing that's going to hold him back, and the reason I have him at number 3 as far as winning MVP, is I don't think his team will be good enough because it is in the Western Conference, and I don't think they'll be sniffing. I mean, this is a team that didn't even make the playoffs last year. Most NBA fans can figure out what I'm getting at here. I'm talking about my man Luka Magic. And look, Luka's a bad boy, man. I am not trying to put down Luka Doncic. I am not saying this dude is not that dude. I have watched this guy up close. I got to get to the floor one time and watch him play up close in Houston. His ability to control and dominate an entire game is so rare. And it's so odd if you ever get to really watch him and see. It's just fascinating how much it's Larry Bird-like as his ability to go at his own pace. Jokic is the same way, but like this idea that they can just kind of go at their own speed and never have to be sped up or slowed down. They don't really have to panic. They don't really, it's just, they always seem so in control of what they're doing. Tom Brady, behind center is kind of the same thing. They're, Peyton Manning. Like, there's certain people you just see that command and understand the game and are able to just break it down. Luka's in that category, and Luka puts up numbers. Luka Magic is no damn joke. Just so you know, Luka Doncic averaged last year 32.4, 7.8, and 8. He averaged 7.8 rebounds and 8 assists along with 32.4 points. He is already in his 4th season leading the Dallas Mavericks franchise all time in triple-doubles. He was the only player since Wilt Chamberlain to get the first 8 games of last season. He had at least 30 points for all first 8 games. The last one to do that was Chamberlain, like back in the 60s. He had a 60-point triple-double last year. He was the second to ever do that. And he also passed Wilt Chamberlain for the most 40-point triple-doubles ever in NBA history. This guy is a triple-double machine. When it comes to MVPs, we love triple-doubles. That's an easy way to understand value. He scores, he assists, he gets rebounds. He doesn't do much defensively, and I think that'll also hurt him. But I think the main thing that's going to hurt Luka more than anything else, I think he hits the 65 games. I think his stats are going to be unbelievable. I think he's going to go through runs like he did last year at the start of the season and then other parts of it to where it's like, dude, this guy is just a monster. He's just an absolute monster. The thing that I think is going to hurt him, though, is that I don't think the Dallas Mavericks are going to be very good in the Western Conference this year. You have to at least get to 50 wins. I don't see Dallas sniffing it. I mean, Kyrie is a great player. It's a bad mix. I don't think they really work that well together. These are, again, high usage rate guys. Historically, they are also top 10. Luka's usually top 3 usage rate guys. They like the ball. They like to dribble the ball. They like to run with the ball. They like to have the ball. They're ball hawks. Even when they get assists, they're ball hawks. So putting them together is tough. Luka's still going to get his numbers, though. Luka is that's his team, and I think that's another thing, too, when you look at MVP. That is his team. Dallas Mavericks are Luka's team undisputed. There's no Phoenix Suns situation where it could be Kevin, could be Booker, whatever. Could be Tatum, could be Brown out there in Boston. Could be LeBron, could be AD out there in Los Angeles. That is Luka's team. Kyrie is there as secondary. You are Robin to his Batman, and I hope you go ahead and just accept that truth because that just is what it is. But as far as overall team success, can Luka at least sniff? The Mavericks will have to at least sniff 48 to 49 wins. I mean, 50 is usually the metric. If Luka really wanted wanted MVP, or if you're a Dallas fan and want to see Luka get his respect as MVP, he would have to sniff at least 50 wins. In the Western Conference, man, I don't know, man. There's a lot of teams out there. There's Denver. There's the Lakers. I brought up the Warriors, Sacramento Kings. I mean, there's a lot of teams. Oklahoma City Thunder aren't going to be anyone to just, blink an eye at. Spurs will go ahead and upset your day with Victor Wembanyama being able. So there's so many teams in the West that Dallas getting anywhere past 38, 39, 40 wins, I think to me is a little bit of a reach. I do like some of the moves they make. I really wish the Warriors would have gotten Lively out of the draft. I think he'll be a big part of them. But still, Luka's going to put up the numbers. Luka will play the 65. Luka's going to show you at times he's the best player in the league, maybe one of the best players we've ever seen, but I don't think the Mavericks will be good enough. Therefore, I don't think Luka's my MVP. But I do have at number 3. Nothing to shake a stick at. Nothing to shake a stick at. This guy I got at number 2 as far as possible MVPs. And the problem is he just doesn't care. And I mean, that is really what it comes down to. The number 2 possible MVP winner this year is a great player, is a triple-double machine, does everything, is a good dude. His teammates seem to love him. It's his team. They'll definitely be at the 50-win mark. He will put up the numbers without question. But the problem is he just doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit. Of course, I'm talking about Nikola. Nikola doesn't care. He doesn't care. Nikola, look. He got his trophy. He loves horses. He loves his life. He doesn't love working out in the offseason. Nikola Jokic can't win MVP to me again because even though he's got the 2 and really arguably should have been it last year, I am just seeing, and maybe it's because and look, I'll be fair, maybe we have never focused on Nikola the way we're focusing on him this offseason. I mean, it is phenomenal to see how little of a shit that Nikola Jokic gives. He does not care at all. Luka is just, dude, this is a job to him. And I'm going to show him again. I'm going to show some of these interviews here because it just bears importance. If you're a Denver Nuggets fan and you were happy about what happened last season, I want you to just, dude, it's rare. It's just rare. You don't see guys who care this little as far as being able to consistently buck the trend of you don't have to work that hard and still be a great player. Now, Shaquille O'Neal was one of them. There's a few. Allen Iverson, I'm sorry. He gave you his rant. You know how Allen Iverson feels about practice.
It's not the game.
We're
talking about practice.
Luka's kind of Iverson-ish.
But we talking about practice, man.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
Practice?
What we talk about? Why we talk about practice? Why we talk about off-season? I don't give crap. My horse in race. My daughter. I have to spend time. I must eat a donut. I don't have time to give shit about practice. Nikola Jokic has continually shown us, and maybe it's only because we really paid attention this last off-season, but man, Nikola don't care. And so let me play these again. This is just, his own words. I'm not just making this stuff up.
This past summer, the most fun you've had since you've been in the NBA?
No, I think it's actually opposite.
Wait, why?
We played 2.5 extra months, recover and everything, so it was good. But I had fun. Summers that I had more fun.
What you are feeling right now, and if you're looking forward to a parade coming up in Denver.
Minute parade?
Sparks great.
Parade?
Thursday.
No. I need to go home.
Let me fast forward too, because he also talks about how your job's just your job. But even this is just from this last offseason. They asked him, did he even pick up a basketball? And I thought this was an interesting point here to show with Nikola Jokic. Let me show this part real quick, too.
What's the thing that has changed in your life since becoming a champion?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing's changed. But right here, this is the preseason. This is just starting off. They just done their first media day. They asked the 2-time MVP, Finals MVP, did you pick up a basketball the entire offseason? He tries to lie, and then Jamal tells the truth.
A couple times, not much.
No, he didn't. Dude, it's a hope and a prayer. It really is a hope and a prayer that Nikola Jokic is going to be able to figure this out. Because, dude, not only does he not care, I think Denver has the bullseye. I think he's had his run. I think he's very content. And look, as far as the scheme of life, goes, is it a good thing? Is Nikola Jokic's mindset a good thing? Absolutely. And let me go ahead and explain that a little bit more. I do think it's important to go ahead and mention that some of the greatest of all time in almost every sport, their life kind of sucks. You look at Tom Brady, just gave up his family to play one more season in Tampa and lost it. Basically, almost, it's been just flat out explained, he would not let go of football over his family. Michael Jordan has like one friend and looks like he has yellow eyes and jaundice from the alcoholism, and I'm a former alcoholic. I know what I'm talking about there. I can see it. Looks like he, gambling, all sorts of things. He has a lot of struggles. Tiger Woods, do I even need to get into the 97 strippers he raw dogged and losing wives and losing all sorts of, being caught with all sorts of drugs and everything else? Most of these guys, Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, he was able to move on as once he retired because he found other outlets that were just as competitive. But those guys, when it comes to the Tigers, the Kobes, the Jordans, Magic obviously had a lot of problems. Bird, Brady, Nikola doesn't fall in that category. LeBron doesn't fall in that category. They both fall into the category of the greater picture of life, and that's a great idea to have, is that, look, dude, this is a game. This is a job. I love it, and I work hard at it when it's time to work hard at it, but I have balance. I understand. I have family. I have friends. I have other hobbies that I'm interested in. I have other things that are going to make me whole and make me happy. So in the game of life, that is phenomenal. But if you're a Denver fan and you think Jokic could and should win the MVP this year, it is hard for me to think and fathom that it's possible when I can watch him openly tell us and show us through the dancing and the horses and just the weight gain that he's on. If you go back, I'll show this video again. Look at him. This is him currently. This is him in the last few days talking about before the season starts. Go ahead and look at Nikola Jokic's little fat face there. And then they're going to cut to right after he was done with the finals and see, you can just see the difference. He must be 20, 30 pounds heavier than he was when he went on his finals MVP run. It's about to switch over. Watch this. And bang. Look at how much skinnier he is right there. Look, you can see it in his face, in his arms. I mean, Nikola is not in shape. Nikola does not care. Because I have daughter, I have wife. I love Serbia. I love horses. I love my life. Every day is better than the next. I wake up, I kiss the sun because I'm tall enough, and I hug my wife and daughter, and I go on, and I play with my horses, and I go ahead and drink big-ass beer at 5 in the morning because I don't give shit. But I definitely did not work out. He told you he did not work out. He said, I might have picked it up once or twice. Jamal Murray laughed and said he did not pick up a damn thing. He is clearly at least 20, 30 pounds heavier than he was. He has now gotten 2 MVPs and a finals MVP and a championship. He does not seem focused. He does not seem ready. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets hurt. It's not like he can't put up the numbers. Don't get me wrong. He was 0.2 assists last year away from a triple-double average last season, 24.5, 11.8, 9.8. He has led the Nuggets in points, rebounds, and assists for the last 6 seasons, but he does not care enough to where I think the bullseye, Denver was kind of slept on by everybody. I think a lot of people are going to be a lot more fired up to play him than they were in previous seasons, and this dude could not be more ill-prepared than he was in previous years. I don't think anyone has been more ill-prepared as far as not really caring that much about going ahead and trying to prove a point a la Kobe or Jordan, but he gets the bigger picture, and sometimes that's more important. Not in the discussion we're having about most valuable player, but he's probably going to be a very well-adjusted, Serbian, good dad, good husband, all that other stuff as life goes on. But I don't think he wins the MVP this year. So all that being said, it only leaves really one guy. I think the real MVP this year is clearly going to be Joel Embiid, the reigning MVP from last year, which I know is kind of boring, but I broke down all the reasons I think the other guys can't do it. It is really his award to lose at this point.
You're the real MVP.
I just think Joel Embiid, and now with the Harden drama and all the nonsense going on there, is even more just given to where I think the Sixers in the East can at least hit the 50-win mark. I think he can play 65 games. He only got 66 last year, but I do think Joel likes individual awards. I do think he likes winning MVP, and I think it's going to be also because he's thinking about maybe getting moved to another team or whatever. He wants to put his best foot forward this season. And the main thing about it is that Joel Embiid is also a bad, bad man, and I know has had his ups and downs, injuries, playoff woes, and other things, but Joel Embiid is also that dude. I mean, let me just go ahead and give him his flowers here. Joel Embiid, in case you don't watch enough, is unbelievably versatile for his size. I mean, we're all freaking out about Victor Wembanyama, and that is a different level of skinny and quick and other things there. But Joel, for his size and weight, his versatility is truly, he's got the footwork of a Tim Duncan. He's got a decent outside jumper. He has got good defensive skills, by the way. 3 times All-NBA defense. It's not like he just does it on the one end of the floor. But he is the only center to lead the league in scoring since Moses Malone in 1982. A former Sixer star as well. He can shoot a 3. He's an isolation nightmare. He can clearly dribble, but again, his footwork is truly phenomenal for his size. He always has injury issues, and will he actually be able to hit the 65-game marker? I'm not sure. But when I look at their situation, when James Harden doing everything but going ahead and play for the 76ers this year, it's going to be his team and his team alone, other than his good players behind him as far as like Maxey and Tobias and those guys, but they're not going to do anything to threaten his MVP reign. It's going to be his team. They're going to hit the 50 wins. I do think he hits 65. He's the reigning MVP from last year. He is arguably still the best player in the league, or at least top 3 every single year. He's a matchup nightmare. And again, last year just averaged 33 points a game. He was number 1 in the league in scoring. The first guy to lead the league in scoring at the center position since 1982, Moses Malone. 10.2 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.7 blocks, 3 times All-NBA defense. He does it on both ends of the floor. And because of the other ones I mentioned, I think Steph will get mentioned, but he won't actually get the love. LeBron has no chance. I think Booker, Durant eat into each other. I think Giannis and Dame also eat into each other. Luka Doncic, I don't think the Mavericks get enough wins. Jokic clearly doesn't seem to really care that much, and he's like 30 pounds overweight. It is really now the golden path has been laid. It should be Embiid's MVP to win this season, to repeat. And if I had to pick right now my favorite, I think he's clearly my favorite. He's clearly my favorite. Especially with the Harden stuff going on. I think he's going to win the MVP.
You the real MVP.
All right, so there we go. I broke down, I think, at least what I wanted to tell you there. Those are my possibles. We'll see as the season goes along. Always a heavily debated one. And again, we'll pay attention. Long way to go. 82 games to go. There's a lot of things that could and should happen. We will find out. One season is over, and I want to discuss it, and I want to be careful here because I'm not, I've talked about it before. And I actually did it on the last podcast, but there were some little audio issues and stuff. And I still wanted to repeat this because I want to be careful here. I'm not trying to be rude. I am not trying to be hateful. I am not trying to be controversial. I'm just trying to tell you the truth here. And it's a tough situation because of who I am and what I look like and what I represent. I am a straight white male. Those are 3 combinations that are hard to talk about any other gender, group, whatever, when you are trying to say something about an opinion of them that's not always necessarily positive.
Because I'm white. Because he's white. Because he
just is what it is.
Man. What you
so the WNBA is a tough topic, and I think a lot of people get annoyed at this topic, but I want you to hear me out for a second because I want to say something to the entire WNBA, their fan base, and everyone who pretends to be their fans, and that's a big part of this. I have a twofold thing I want to bring up here. WNBA, the main thing I want to discuss today, there is actually a push for women's sports, and there is actually a lot of support for women's sports. There's not a lot of support for you, and I think the reason is we just don't really like you guys very much, or you ladies very much. The bigger issue, as people might get, the ones who might complain at this might get upset at me for discussing this, and I want to do this, again, carefully and with, some caution, but I do need to say the fake outrage and the fake wokeness that's involved around this whole topic gets truly frustrating because a lot of you are just full of it, and it's good to say publicly, oh, we should support women's basketball. Oh, as a feminist, I really pay attention, yada, yada, yada. SNL exposed a lot of this in 10 seconds. This was hilarious. This was just from last Weekend Update, the best part of Saturday Night Live with Michael Che and Colin Yost. And they were doing the Weekend Update, and they discussed the WNBA Finals. And this should explain exactly what I'm talking about in a nutshell. Pay attention to this. This is Michael Che just completely trolling and nailing exactly what I'm about to talk about here.
This week, the WNBA Finals were won by the New York Liberty. I'm kidding. Vegas beat them in 4, you phonies. Shame on you.
So he had the whole crowd going because they support the WNBA. They know the WNBA. And he lied to them and said, yeah, New York, the Liberty won the WNBA finals. Isn't that great? Oh, actually, they didn't. They lost in 4. And you had no idea because you weren't paying attention, but you knew because it was being said out loud, and you knew because of the crowd and the people involved, they were going to be like, yes, very proud of the Liberty. Very proud of the New York Liberty. And you clearly weren't paying attention and kind of embarrassed you. Kind of trolled you a little bit, didn't they? I mean, it is what it is, man. I can get into it, but yeah, just so in case you missed it, this was just last week. The WNBA, the Las Vegas Aces, did get it done. I do want to shout them out quickly, and I want to discuss this again one more time, the issue of you not being watched, but a few of you did, and you saw this. This was a great series. Aces versus Liberty, best 2 teams all season. Came down to the last second. A horrible air ball, but it came down to the last second. Las Vegas Aces, first back-to-back in 21 years. Becky Hammon, great coach, went through a lot of controversy, beat their rivals. A lot of great players on the floor. First back-to-back in 21 years. Oh, that's phenomenal. Problem is nobody watched, and I want to now really get into why. I want to discuss why. It's your fault, guys, and I don't know what to tell you. Ladies, WNBA fans, people that pretended to know the Liberty won on the SNL Weekend Update, and others who might get offended by what I'm about to say. I want you to just listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Again, women's sports are actually up. So that's the first thing I need to knock out of the park here as I discuss why you're just maybe, and it's an image issue, and maybe you're just not liked all that much, is women's sports in general are up. USA Soccer, up. World Cup was huge. Just got their money deal, just settled their lawsuit. Iowa women's basketball, college basketball in general, up. Iowa women's basketball just got 55,000 people in a football stadium to watch a women's preseason college basketball game. There was a volleyball game in Nebraska. 95,000 people packed a football field to watch women play volleyball. There's women's support going on all over the world right now. Matter of fact, Nielsen reports even said that women's sports viewership is on a, quote, meteoric rise. Meteoric rise. Again, looking at World Cup, NCAA basketball, and other things going on there. The WNBA, however, was trying to brag out loud because they averaged 659,000 viewers on ABC. I will show you the article here, and this is truly amazing to me that they thought to say this out loud. The WNBA on ABC in prime time drew 659,000 viewers. That's marking the best game 3 in 18 years. It's up 14% from last year. They're averaging 673,000 viewers. They're up 13% from last year. Isn't that phenomenal? No, it's terrible. I'm sorry, you were on ABC in primetime. Do you know the other sporting events that beat the WNBA in television ratings? I will let you know right now. The NFL crushed them, obviously. NFL crushes everyone, like 20 million views versus 673,000. NCAA football, about 7 million. Major League Baseball, Texas Rangers, Houston Astros, big one, 7 million viewers. But then we get into ones that the WNBA now bragging, dude, we're up 13%, 673,000 viewers. Isn't that phenomenal? You were almost doubled on Univision by Ghana versus Mexico, soccer game. That got 1.4 million viewers. NHL preseason, and regular season too, but still 1 million viewers, 1.4. The PBR Camping Championships, I don't even know what that is, got 1.4 million viewer average. The Gymnastics World Artistic Championships got 850,000 average viewers. AEW Wrestling, the second-tier wrestling to WWE, got 800,000 viewers. So you were on ABC Primetime. I want you to just really understand that ABC Primetime, with all the push, everyone talking about you, ESPN and others really trying to push, hey, go watch these games. 659,000 viewers was not just beaten by NFL, NCAA, and Major League Baseball. It was beaten by Ghana versus Mexico on Univision. It was beaten by the National Hockey League. It was beaten by the PBR Camping Championships. It was beaten by the Gymnastic World Artistic Championships and AEW Wrestling. You're up 13% from a very, very low spot. So what is it? Is it us? Is it that we don't like women's sports? Not really. Can't argue that one either. Like I just said, we just saw 95,000 people pack to watch a women's volleyball game. U.S. Women's World Cup, huge ratings. Team sport, huge ratings. The one that you really can't give us is that, oh, well, it's because, basketball, soccer's still kind of a feminine sport. And I've heard this one. It's really not fair because basketball we can't really show, and you can't really, how the, patriarchy works and sex sells, and you got to be pretty. And that's the problem with the WNBA, and that's why they don't get ratings. Really? Because NCAA women's college basketball is murdering. I will show this again. 55,000 people just recently went to watch Iowa and Caitlin Clark. 55,000. Look at those stands. I'm sorry, what? I thought I heard y'all say that we don't support women's basketball.
Caitlin Clark unloads.
By the way, Caitlin got a triple-double. I thought y'all said that, we might support women in team sports, but we don't support women's basketball. Yet 55,000 showed up for the Iowa opener, who was also doing a thing for the Children's Hospital. Kids couldn't be more happy, the sick kids, to wave to it was a beautiful event. But again, 55,000 showed up to a football field to watch Iowa play basketball, the women's team play basketball. I need that to settle in. I need that to sink in. You got 673,000 viewers for your WNBA finals. So what's going on? And what really is the issue? It's an image thing. I'm sorry, it is. This is what I think I've been careful, and I think I've tried to explain. You didn't just lose in ratings to the big ones. You lost to Ghana, Mexico soccer, and other just embarrassing losses. It's not that we don't support women's sports or even team sports, as we're seeing in soccer and other places. We do. You can't even say we don't support women's basketball. We just packed 55,000 to watch a college season opener in Iowa. Not exactly the most progressive state in the country. So what's happening? We don't really like you. And someone's got to say it. Someone's got to keep it a buck. You're not very likable, WNBA. When I think of you, I don't think of basketball. You know what I think when I think about the WNBA? I think of a wrestling heel. I've mentioned it before. I'm a big wrestling fan, so I can tell you this. The way they create a bad guy reminds me of the WNBA and their attitude.
It's still real to me, damn it.
The WWE will make a heel, a good bad person in the WWE. They will do things like they'll have them go out to the crowd and say I deserve to be champion because I'm the best. And the only reason I'm not champion is because you guys suck and you don't appreciate me enough. And you don't appreciate the effort I put out. I'm the hardest working person here. I work harder than everyone else in the back. Therefore, I deserve the belt. I deserve to be champion. And the only reason I'm not is because you guys are too stupid or too, immature, or you're just because you suck. It's not because of me. It's because of you. I think of that a lot when I think about the WNBA. The Brittany Griner thing could not have been more of a shit show. It just couldn't have been. I'm sorry. Brittany Griner came back after everything that happened from Russia. We traded the Merchant of Death to bring her back. Not everyone was happy about that. But still, she comes back, plays for the Mercury. The season opener, they got 10,000 plus people to pack that stadium and welcome her back with open arms in the season opener of the WNBA in a beautiful situation in Phoenix. Everyone was going nuts. And so what happens after the game? The head coach, you can Google this, comes out and says, well, it wasn't a sellout. Yeah, we got 10,000 people, but it wasn't a sellout. Why wasn't it a sellout? It's annoying. We don't like hearing. People are just really that's not a smart thing to do. Brittany Griner then gets hassled at the airport after this because there's a lot of attention going on because it was a big news story. She gets hassled at an airport and had the balls, or excuse me, I can't say that, had the nerve, to say that she felt threatened for her life, that she felt things were unsafe. And while I get it sucks to be rushed at the airport by someone with a phone, the point I had to keep making, and I made it before, is that you were in an airport. You were in a secure part of the airport. There are very few things that you can point out to or, isolate as a possible place of I feel unsafe as far as publicly goes as the, returning terminal or the arriving terminal of an airport. Anyone who gets to you at that point has to go through TSA. They have to go through metal detectors. They have to go through security. There's going to be armed people all the way through that. There's going to be 1,000 other people. There's only one way out and only one way in. The idea that the airport was the place you decided to bring up your safety issue, and oh, by the way, just led to, it also means that I need chartered planes, that, riding in the regular plane isn't good enough for me. I need chartered planes that I, quote, don't feel safe, because at an airport, the safest place publicly you can argue is when you decided to bring it up. It's annoying. You guys, you piss people off. You continually complain about your ratings. You try to point fingers and say that it's us, that we don't support women. We don't support team sports. We don't support women's basketball. And now you see we're supporting women's basketball. Now you can see we're supporting women's team sports. Nielsen just said women's sports viewership is on a meteoric rise. The only one that's not is y'all. At some point, you're going to have to start really just being honest. Someone's going to have to be honest with you guys and tell you the truth. It really is an image issue. When I think of the WNBA, I think of ungrateful. I think of unaware. I think of they somehow are victims, yet they feel superior to everyone. I think of bratty. I think of complaining. I don't think about any of that when I think about women's college basketball. I think about Angel. I think about Caitlin. I think about Van Lith. I think about their beef. I think about South Carolina. I can't wait to see them try to come back after their upset to Iowa and what they're going to be able to do, Staley and the girls being able to put together. I think of basketball. I think of fun. I think of matchups. I think of head-to-head. I think of things that I'm looking forward to as a sports fan. When I think of the WNBA, I think about Griner and her head coach complaining about how they didn't sell out the return game home. I think about, Kelsey Plum, even though she meant it as a joke, with the now partial owner, Tom Brady, coming to the game. She had to make a joke at a press conference saying things like, oh, it's about time he showed up. I think about how y'all continually go out and complain about revenue that you don't have, that you don't earn, that you don't deserve. I don't think about you guys really just being you know what? It's great to play the sport. We love it. And I know you guys say it, but you need to start paying attention to this is not a perception or an image that's going to change overnight. This is something that's going to take time. All right. Look, I don't know what else to tell you. You're talking to someone, by the way, who, again, is now 2 years sober and was out of a rehab. If anyone understands perception, image change, and the amount of time it takes, and I'll let it go after this, should be me. I'm telling you, for 2 years straight, I have done everything and proven that I have been sober without question. I have done things like breathalyzers and other stuff every day to prove that without fail, I have not made a mistake. After 2 years of without fail not making a mistake, it is still hard for my family and others to understand and perception change and things to trust me. You guys, for 20-something years now, or you ladies, I'm trying to be careful here, have done everything you can to project yourself as whiny, bitching, moaning. We don't get enough this, we don't get enough that. And when we don't get enough, it's not our fault, it's not our product. It's that you don't like this, you don't like that. And every time it's been disproven, you just get louder and it's not good. Your image issue is your problem. It's not women's basketball. It's not sports. It's not that people don't watch, women play basketball. It's that we just don't like you. And I feel like I've kind of, repeated myself there a little bit, but I'm trying to explain every reason why I'm saying that. It's not just me being chauvinist and saying, I just don't like you guys. I'm speaking, I think, for an entire group audience. And again, a bunch of people who pretend to like you, but don't even know who won the actual WNBA finals. Again, I got to show this one more time because this was just hilarious. To the ones right now telling me, oh, no, I support it, I watch it, you were probably just like this entire Weekend Update crowd that got exposed by Michael Che. This was hilarious.
This week, the WNBA finals were won by the New York Liberty.
No, weren't.
I'm kidding. Vegas beat them in 4, you phonies. You didn't see that game.
Just sad.
Shame on you.
Just sad. I still don't know if I'm going to release that part. We'll see. I do think I tried to make my point as good as I could. But right now, I want to have some fun. I want to end the show. I want to get some videos.
You seen it? You seen it?
Don't look at me. Don't look at me, little puppet.
Have you seen this? Have you read about this?
Maybe I made my point. Maybe I didn't. This is the part at the end of the show. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy videos that are either cringeworthy, just laughable, or somewhere in between, and we all have a good time together. Cool? Cool. All right. First ones here. Let me get into some fun ones. Let's just start easy. This is a fan celebrating, and I think is part seagull. That's really all you need to know. Fan celebrating, possibly part seagull. We won! Won the game! I'm going to jump in the pool. No, you're not. See that again. I won! We won! The team won! I'm so excited! That noise is so loud. He just thuds into that thing, doesn't he? Oh. 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 The acoustics in that place were phenomenal. Phenomenal. All right, what else do I have here that's an easy one to start off with? This is a young kid who doesn't even have glory days to go ahead and live back because, oh boy, did he miss his jump here. Watch this.
Oh my God! Holy shit! Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Raheem dead.
Oh my god. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh my god. You okay? Raheem.
Raheem.
Oh my god. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh my god. You okay?
Where are the teachers? Where are the parents? That's what I want to know. The hell are these people that are supposed to be watching these damn children? Out there giving each other concussions, flipping off the top of the building. I believe the children are our future. Don't let them flip onto the court. Smash their head and now they can't read their own. All right, anyways. What else do I have here? This one, let me see. Do I have? Yeah, I have 2 security ones. These are fun. All right, so security guards are not playing. All right, security guards at sporting event games are no longer playing with y'all. They're taking this serious. I would take them serious because they're going to start knocking you guys out, and they already are. This is I got a couple of these. Let's start off in Philadelphia. Shout out to the Phillies continuing to work out there in baseball. But one of the guys tried to run the field, and again, stop messing with these security guards. They're all hopped up on Mountain Dew doing God knows what behind closed doors. They are ready to jack you up, just like this guy in Philly caught it. Pow! Beautiful spear. Beautiful, just a nice side tackle, blindsided him, never saw it coming. Good night. Good frickin' night. I'm with the fans, too. I love watching this. Pow! Boom! Good night. Stop running onto the field. That's just one. Another one happened out there in Alabama. Another ding-dong, and this guy didn't just hit him, let him know about it, too. Let him just, announce that, yeah, I just smashed your ass really hard. Stop messing around out here in Bama. Boom! Flexing on dude, too.
Yeah.
That's right. Dude. That's right. Come on my field, boy. This is Alabama. I tell you what. Better know where you are, boy. Look at it. I love the guy in the blue. The guy in the blue is great because he had nothing to do with it other than he just joined in at the end and started talking like, yeah, that's right. Don't come out here, son. The hit's great. This guy's even better. This guy. Look at this dude right here. Look at this dude just losing it. Like, yeah, he's what's his, Jimmy Hart out from old wrestling days there. That's right, son. You got knocked the F out, boy. This is Alabama. You don't rush our field.
Dude.
Don't do it, man. They're not playing around. They're not playing around. Let me see. What else do I have here that's fun? You want to see how to lose certain things in life? You want to see how to lose a semi-truck? Don't reach for the chips in the back. That's all I'm going to say. You want to see how someone could possibly lose their semi-truck, their job, maybe more? Reach in. I know. They're right there. That food's right there. You want it. You need it. But you're driving a big old, what is it, 6-ton vehicle? What are those things even with 4 or 5 tons? They're huge. Be careful when you're driving out there and wherever you're at. Truckers out there, be careful. Don't reach for the chips. Don't reach for the chips. He's going to do it. He's going to reach. Don't do it. Don't. He did it. Oh, Lord. Oh, you had to get that. You just had. Oh, yikes. One more time. Having a good day. Well, oh, they're there. I can just reach back. No one's going to notice. And while he balanced on the wheel, it's all over from here. If you're going to ask me if he's okay, I don't know. I really don't. I just know it was on the internet, so hopefully it's all right. Let me do this next one here. This is how to lose your boat while you and your girlfriend are water skiing. All right? How to lose your boat while you and your girlfriend are water skiing. Check it out. Hey, honey. Having fun? What? You need something? All right, let me stop operating this boat with no one else on it and walk to the back where I could possibly fall, and I did. Oh, shit. Yeah, honey, I don't know what to tell you. I'm no longer in the boat. You asked me to come back here. Yeah, can you pull your way up? No, you can't either. Well, damn, there goes our boat. Love that boat. I mean, there's just so much bad ideas.
Got a good brain.
Watch it again. I mean, so they're water skiing. They're having a good time. He's driving. He's good. Honey. Honey. Don't. I'm watching. I know what's going to happen. I'm telling him, don't do it. Don't go back there. It's a nice boat, man. It's at least 60 grand. Now you're asking her to go Mission Impossible and yank her way on Ninja Warrior water skiing style. That's not happening either. And she's gone. There goes your boat. There goes the boat. Sad. Sad, sad, sad. So don't do that. Let me do this one in case I need to get to it because I think that might be the last one. Yes, okay. This one is crazy. This one is bananas. This one is going to blow your mind. Are you ready? This one is something I thought was very, very interesting and went viral for a while here and is sports related. It's going to actually be sports related. No, you don't think it's going to be sports related, but it is sports related, and it's going to blow your mind. In case you haven't seen this, this went viral over the interwebs. You're going to have to check this out.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind?
All right, so let me go ahead and put it up here, and let me just start this. So I saw this the other day. I want you to look at that picture. Picture of a house, right? It's a picture of a house, right? I want you to look at that picture now. I want you to focus your eyes. Don't look at me. Focus on the picture. Start kind of like when you look at a 3D picture and you kind of squint or let your eyes get blurry. Start doing that. And tell me if you can see what a lot of people, and I included, saw. If you're especially, I'll give you a hint. If you're a fan of 90s basketball and you know it pretty well, or if you're just a fan of the NBA in general, I want you to look at that house and I want you to squint your eyes. Really let them get a little blurry. What do you see now? Do you see it? Do you see it yet? Because it's there. It's absolutely there. Check it out. This is so cool. Why or how this happened, that's the Reggie Miller choke. That is the Reggie Miller choke. I mean, the famous to Spike Lee, the whole thing. How or why that picture was taken, why that all was down, I have no idea. I have no idea how anyone put two and two together other than they're like me. They're an old head who's watched a lot of NBA. But I'll go ahead and start it from the beginning again. Look at this house because now you can't unsee it. Once you see the picture of what it actually looks like, you can't unsee it. But it is so wild to look at that. And then I'll just do the transition again for you. So look at the house, squint your eyes, and just go ahead and keep paying attention. Dude, it is like, I mean, if it wasn't done on purpose, that's crazy. That's phenomenal to me. How the hell did that happen? That is clearly the Reggie Miller choke house. That is always what that's going to be. I hope that adds value to it. But that was just like, I lost my damn mind. I want to see it a couple more times. There's the house. Clear as day, it's just a house. And there's Reggie. Bring it back. Keep that in your head. The house. And then take that spike. Reggie, that's bananas. That is so cool. So cool. Had to bring that to you. And then I had to go, which is right now. I love you guys. Talk to you next time.